Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. We're jumping in the queue here, and DeBelange is playing against Aaron Force. I remember when Aaron Force was like tier 8 or something. I'm quite pleased to see him in the top 100. We have the System versus Coscott. Well, let's go watch DeBelange. That's always a treat. Wow, very, very bursty, aggressive everything here, except for like Doomed Wall. I mean, there's a few, like, slow units here, right? Sort of these three are defensive. Husk is actually kind of an aggressive unit just because it supports red so well. And red is so aggressive. But, like, all this green-blue burst. Lucina is probably just going to be too hard to get down because of, like, Vors and Fibroid and so on. Or Tesla or Plasma or whatever. The players seem to agree with that assessment. Although, yeah. So what is? Oh, he's gonna try it. Yeah, I thought he was pausing with, and that's, I just sort of imagined maybe he would try to fit in a Lucina, but boy, is that gonna be tough. I feel like if you're doing that, this Tarsier is amazingly greedy, but I assume DeBelange has calculated it out. Is that even going to get to attack? I don't think it is. Or you could choose not to harvest the Galvani, I guess. But you're probably only going to have one energy next turn. Well, I hope I don't get matched before I see how that game goes. This game, at least this turn. No! Alright, it's the System again. That's who we played last time in the Mahar Sinestro game. Whoa! What? Alright. So, like, Venge, Cluster, and maybe a Trinity or something at some point? Seems pretty great. And really nothing else will beat it. Probably you don't get the Trinity because your drone supply is pretty precious. Do you even build a second drone here? Do you just open DC? I think DC is probably pretty good. I don't actually know the right Venge Cluster line, but it seems like it ought to be pretty fast. No, I don't like that so much. Let's just get 2 drones. And I guess we're going for like a 12 drone Venge. So we'll have 3, 4. Next turn I can build as many as 3 more conduits. Which would be 6. That would get me up to 10 green. Not ideal. Okay. Well, so maybe I want a second drone here, but no, not really. Trinities. I think I would rather just get loads of Venges. Although, hang on. Yeah, we should hit him with one of these, right? Just start doing the damage as soon as possible, since no one's going to be absorbing anything. And I could throw in a drone here. It's not going to get a lot of value, but 5, 6. Yeah, maybe I can actually just get 2 more drones next turn and actually get a 5th Venge. I'm not sure. I'm really surprised to see opponent getting all these Trinities. But, you know, for one thing, the Venge Cannon makes that a bit awkward. They apparently want to build a bunch of Trinities, so I guess killing off their Engineers is going to make them sad, right? Maybe they have to Force Field. Right. I can't quite do this unless I cut both of these to get that last conduit. Then I can Trinity everything up next, or Venge everything up next turn, right? Yeah. That's probably worth doing. To get that one extra Venge at the expense of building them a bit later. Opponent's pretty breach-proof, so damage next turn is almost as good as damage now, probably. I just want the maximum total amount of damage, which I think I can this way. And I think I just build more conduits for clusters, right? I don't want to save this for Gauss Cannon or anything silly like that. Let's just build 1,000,000 cluster bolts. Opponent actually, I mean, killing one conduit seems okay. I don't know about putting damage on a second one, though. I could kill the Venge? No, Trinities are way more breach vulnerable than Venge. I want to stop him building Gauss Cannons. If he can't build those, like, I'm thrilled. Gauss Cannons and Conduits. He's killing all my green, which is going to stop me building clusters, but aren't the Venge Cannons kind of a problem for you? They seem like they should be a problem. Opponent can kill 1 Venge next turn, so I'll still have 8 damage. So I can handle this Venge Cannon just fine. And then I just have 1,000,000 more damage. The cluster bolts are not going to do it, I don't think. Yeah, I feel like you might have the wrong priorities here. But okay, I mean, you're cutting me off from getting clusters next turn, or ever, I guess. You did stop me at exactly 3, that's cute. Ah, okay, this is neat, actually. Look, they're exactly killing 1 Venge Cannon and the last conduit. That's cute. I guess I could do this. That leaves them, though, at 8. No, this damage is is pretty good, I think, because I'm doing 8 damage next turn, and I'd like to make sure that that kills 2 Gauss cannons. I don't think I'm supposed to kill conduits before Gauss cannons. Maybe I am, but I'm not going to. So there you go. Man, they're doing a really good job of having exactly the right amount of damage left over. But okay, I should just kill conduits now because this Gauss cannon is clearly not killing me all by itself. So they have to kill me with cluster bolts or lose. Yeah, this seems pretty good for me. Yeah, this way they can't buy a cluster next turn. Okay. So I think this one was just about, like, Venges are better than Trinities. Especially when your plan is to, like, cluster bolt. I mean, there are lots of sets where you would rather get Trinities than Venges, but if, like, you're building cluster bolts and you have to choose what to spend your drones on, like, Venge Cannon's pretty good. I'm not sure about this turn here where I, like, had to defer building 2 Venge Cannons by a turn just to make it so I could build 1 more a turn later. 1 more eventually, that is. But it was kind of like, I got up to this 12, and then I had some money left over, so I thought, hey, why not a drone? And then somehow I was in a position... Okay, so here's the thing I could have done, actually, is realized I would be in this position here, and say, well, what about this Venge Cannon? What if I delay this by a turn? Because if I follow the same line but delay this Venge by one turn, let's say I just don't do anything with the green. We'll ignore the opponent. Then I can build 3 Venges and still have enough green on the next turn to Venge everything up. Right? So I delay 2 damage by a turn instead of delaying 4 damage by a turn, but I have to do it a bit earlier. You know, how important was that first 2 damage? I don't know. Not that important. It stopped the opponent from building Trinities, which I wish they would have kept doing, so maybe I should have left that option open. Yeah, it should have... I don't know. It's hard to think ahead of, like, calculate out how when Venge is doing these weird things to your economy. I should have thought of this, and I think that probably would have been better. And so something I wanted to calculate is, like, roughly... I mean, obviously there will be tactical considerations, but in general, in a game where you have Venges and clusters, is it better to breach Venges or conduits? How breach vulnerable are the 2 units, is what I mean to say. So a conduit produces 1/4 of a cluster bolt every turn, on average, right? And a cluster bolt is net 3 health. So a conduit produces 3/4 of a value, of a damage, roughly, right? And it has 3 health, so its damage to health ratio is 1/4. And the higher the damage to health ratio on a thing, the more you should be inclined to breach it. So 1/4 for conduits. How about Venge Cannon? It produces 2 attack, and it has 9 Health. So its damage to health ratio is 2/9. Slightly lower than a quarter. Interesting. So, you know, that's not exactly a proof or anything, but it does suggest that you might consider killing conduits before venges in a breach-proof game where your goal is just like to minimize total amount of damage your opponent can deal. And also, honestly, like, aren't Gauss cannons more breach vulnerable than Venge cannons? I'm used to breaching Venge cannons, but that's because opponents usually click them. Yeah, like, why would you ever breach a Venge? It just doesn't make any sense. What was I thinking? Well, okay, when you're, no. Wait, no. Gauss cannons are even more breach proof because they have, it costs 10 damage on a Gauss cannon to turn off 2 damage. Okay, so damaging the Venge was fine, but maybe damaging the conduit would have been better. And certainly should kill conduits over Gauss cannons because their damage to health is a 1/5. Huh. Okay, well that's an instructive thing to learn. That was a pretty quick game. Let's try to get in a second one here this episode. Oh, or we could go to the armory, huh? Flava Gazda versus Balloon. Looked like 2 low Master Tier players, right? What? Oops, sorry. What is going on here? Both players settling at around 11 drones and some Galvanis. Seem to be heading for blue. Double blue on 10 or 12 drones, really. I mean, you could build a few oxides, fine, but maybe the plan's oxide conduit to get you into Xenos, and they just figured, hey, let's build some oxides. Sure, I guess. Xeno's not going to be getting a lot of value. No, Drake. Okay. It's going to be tough to support Drakes on an economy like this, but yeah, I'd much rather have Xeno, but I would also rather have more drones, so this just isn't the way I would have expected this game to go. Like, wouldn't just red be better than all this weird stuff? Grimbotch and Blood Rager are both quite strong, and you have Frostbrooder there to punish the blue player as well. Plus, you're much less bothered about your Galvanis being killed if you're red. It's much less of a problem to have Absorb than although here... Oh, I know, yeah. I thought someone had spent pixies to kill Galvanis, but no, it was just Drake damage. Yeah, 2 Drakes is going to be pretty oppressive. I think Balloon is probably winning this one. Like, in fact, what on earth is Balloon not ahead in? Could Flabbergazza really not have clicked that splitter? Yeah, I guess not. Not without offering a breach for exact. 2 Shredder? No, okay, this is better. I don't like these pixie clicks. I would hold on to them. Dealing 4 damage, it makes your opponent use the most granularity. Oh, we're gonna get the Xeno down after opponent kills our Galvanis? Oh, that's perfect. I didn't like the 3rd Drake that Balloon was considering, so I'm glad we changed our minds here. Here comes a Xeno, right? Oh, it does threaten a lot of damage. Is there some way we could get a Xeno? It would be really nice. No, no, no! We already have too much blue. Click your Drake if you're doing this. If you decided there's nothing better to spend your $5 on than a Blast Forge, it should be just to like buy 2 damage. Iron Force. Base plus 8. Ooh, Centrifuge is interesting because you could use that to buy grid, or like to buy the only red unit you ever get with, say, a Reservoir, or both. Like, what's the attacker you want in this set? Drake. And that fits together with defense grid. You can afford to over-tech up to defense grid and then tech back down, I guess. But I'd actually still rather just have a Centrifuge so that I can get a Reservoir without being committed to red. Because I really just want to build like a couple Drakes, an Arca, and then a bunch of force fields, I think. Well, and the defense grid, if I can get away with it. Maybe the defense grid is just too optimistic. Maybe Drakes will somehow kill me if I try that. Yeah, that is a thing to think about, is like, how do you actually get a defense grid down? But, I mean, Centrifuge, right? That's the answer. I think I'd like to give that a try. Of course, you know, defense grid will be a bit weaker with wild drones, but assuming both players econ up a bunch, there'll be time to buy real drones after all the wild drones have started getting killed. I think you should probably go 4th Engie into 2 wilds, right? Conduit. That'd be some kind of Reservoir rush, maybe? It's a weird one. I mean, Arca would be really great to get as well, of course. It doesn't really fit with this idea of using Centrifuge to buy you a single red unit. And also using Centrifuge to get you your only your defense grid. Unless you want to have 5 blue, which seems a little bit silly. Yes. Building 3 Blast Forges and then a Centrifuge to get Grid and Arca on the same turn. It's just bizarre. Maybe the idea in this set is not to get Grid, but just to get Drakes and Arca and like some Vors or something. A couple of Tarsier or 2. But like, I just don't want a lot of red. Maybe I do. Maybe I can just sell back enough blue with Drakes. But like, I'd rather have any other color than red. Green is fine. Blue is fine. Opponent settling on 3 engineers. Interesting. I wonder why. They want a conduit next turn? 2C D. think I really want a Fuge next turn. Boy, Fuge into Reservoir. What a very, very slow approach, huh? Yeah, I think I should just like get Wild Drone Blast Forge next turn. And like start building some blue stuff. Maybe I can get a conduit instead. Save up for like, you know, this is fine soak, and then I'm not as committed to building attackers right away. I can drone up a bit more. That would be a more sort of defense grid oriented line, I think. But buying one splitter is actually pretty fine, because after that I want to get Drake, and having 3 attack is way better than having 2 attack against all these wilds, right? So I think picking up a Blast Forge here, and then Splitter Forge Drone is pretty okay. Okay, red. Red first is exciting. Maybe it's fine. I have blue. Tarsiers are good against blue. I'm happy to trade engineers, I think. Simply because they have Vors. Like, these engineers are doing more for the opponent than they are for me. And it's a bit hard for them to actually click the Vors as well. If I attack with the splitter. I'll take this breach. Don't think I won't. Alright. You got me, I guess. Could I get away with not building this wall and getting another Drake instead? I think I could. Oh yeah, opponent actually has 1 less attack than it says anyway, right? They only have 2? So... that means that a wall actually is guaranteed to get absorbed. I think in that context, it's actually a pretty good wall. I was thinking it's not very good because they would deny absorb by killing a wild, but they can't do that. So, I mean, 4 attack is a bit awkward, but importantly it threatens 6, which is a bit of a problem for them to deal with. And it means maybe next turn I can just get a second Drake, because I'll have this wall to defend. Oh, I'm threatening 6. I can click Drake again to kill wilds if I want. But actually, I'd rather just kill the Vors. Yeah, I'm swinging with everything. And if they want to get past this wall, they have to absorb onto Electrovore. Which has gotta suck. And yeah, they'll have a hard time swinging back, I think. I'll be threatening like 7 and they'll have 2 engineers as their defense. Yeah, I mean, they would have to build wall and rhino and lose the rhino. Ah, that lets you keep a Vor alive. That's kind of cute. But then if I attack for 4, you have to either lose a Vor or lose an Engie and not fire the Vor. So, I don't know. Well, I think this is the worst approach because I can, excuse me. Because I can do this and kill at least 1 Vor and probably 2. As I was saying, it's quite hard for them to take this. Let's just pile on another Drake, right? Oh yeah, I'm threatening 10, not 7, because I get to add a Drake this way. Alright, have fun! You get to kill a wild drone. Best of luck with that. No, I will continue clicking everything. That's my plan. You will receive no respite. I'll throw in an NG, I guess. I don't know. Should I? I should think this through. It is a 90-second game. But here, we're killing a bunch of stuff. And importantly, probably 2 rhinos, so they'll be down to 5. Unless they take the same gambit again to kill 2 more, another wild. And they could attack for 6 in that case. But it's very difficult, I think, for them to keep up with that. But okay, let's say if they do that, they're just killing wilds, so I definitely shouldn't build NGs. What if they don't do that? What if they choose to attack for 5? I still shouldn't build an NG. They're just killing a wall or a wild, and I might be able to do something useful with this blue this $2 next turn. This cannot be easy. Like, as long as I'm killing regular drones and held back to defend and 2 stamina rhinos, like, I don't care about killing your stupid wilds. Let me at the juicy stuff. This time they'll lose a rhino and still attack for 6, I guess, but I don't care if they attack for 6. Go ahead. It sounded like they were resigning, but I don't know. Maybe they're not. I was drone, whatever. Blast sword supply is running low to only 2 left. It's probably about time to stop clicking the drakes, if I had to guess. Like, what I'm killing now is not all that important. Let's just shut off their economy and throw in some more attack. Do I need to like click Ryan, Drake's here? No, in fact it seems like a terrible idea. I could consider not building the splitter. So like it's gonna be a bit tough to defend soon, so I could maybe build NGs or something. But I don't know, applying more attack seems good. I think I'll go for the NGs. I just want, I don't want to get exploited when they make me lose all my NGs. Yeah, this seems fine. It's tough to deal with 8 damage a turn on 8 drones. There we go. Okay. So I really don't know what direction this game should have gone in. It seems like there were a lot of weird options you could take. I like the idea of like a centrifuge into some sneaky shenanigans with Reservoir and maybe Grid or something, but it seems pretty hard to actually get the Grid. Your opponent's either attacking for enough that it's hard to get down the grid, or they're attacking for so little that you don't really want it. And they'll just, like, I don't know, respond by buying Tarsiers and Reservoir, some really slow stuff to deny you grid value for a while. But I suspect there's some kind of centrifuge line that would be quite strong, and like I just don't know what it is, what you would even get with it. I just didn't really want to have a lot of red here. Drake is the best attacker, and it goes well with Steel Splitter, which is like fine. Electrovore is a good attacker, but you can't have that many of them, and there's nothing else here to support it. So I think my opponent's red first was a bit of a problem. And then when they made the mistake of offering this gambit, like it was basic. Like maybe they were right that red was playable, I don't know. But once this happened, I think it was pretty much game over. And whenever I wanted, I could cash in 2 wilds. But this is like, they had to... The longer I leave the wilds alive, the longer my opponent is under stress in 2 directions, right? They have to, like, build enough defense that they're not going to get killed if I leave the wilds alone, but not so much that it's easy for me to just say, oh, I'll kill the wilds, right? You know, that's the easy, productive thing to do. As it finally turned out about here, was like, oh, here's a good time to kill the wilds. Clicking the Drakes, you know, to swing in for everything doesn't really do that much. And by applying pressure instead of killing the wilds early, I was rewarded with like kills of important units. Here, that Vor was extremely important. Well, they ended up choosing not to lose both Vors. So they did get my wild drone kill, but it like meant we did a lot of extra damage because they had to absorb on Vor instead of on wall. And then attack with the Vor, which meant they had to hold some drones. And so now, by leaving the wilds alive, I applied enough pressure to get me some ordinary drones. So, right, this is like the dilemma that they were put in. And I'm not saying like I did this because I'm a genius, right? Like, they sort of gave it to me. My point is, like, always consider, like, I think people kill wild drones too often. I think, especially in games where you have any red, it's often pretty important, pretty useful to pressure their real defenses. And here I got some pretty great rewards for it, and then cashed in the wild drones eventually. To like, what's the one thing at this point, like, if you had to assess what am I ahead in, what am I behind in, I'm like ahead in attack, I'm ahead in attacker defensive tempo. My main downside is I'm down on economy. It's like, oh, well, great. Let's just fix that, and now we're up in everything, right? So that was when that chance finally came up. Okay, well, I would be interested to see like what the right approach in this set is. I don't think either of us took it. What I did was just too boring, like wilds and plus drakes and nothing else. There was plenty of other good stuff here that I think could have seen some play, but I didn't see how to do it. And it seemed like drakes would be pretty strong against, well, my first blast orders didn't commit me to drakes, right? I could, you know, get a splitter and a fuge or something and try to go defense grid. But once my opponent built an animus, like drakes is, I think, a very strong response. Red hates pressure. Alright, anyway, that's enough wool gathering about this set, I guess. And we're gonna be done. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.